Hello, this is our second video in the playlist, and in this video we are going to start to develop our system of equations calculator. So step 0 is designing the GUI layout, and what I mean by that essentially is draw a picture. It's really helpful if you can draw a picture of what you want, because by drawing that picture you can see how things kind of are laid out, and you can work towards that a little easier. You know, a lot of the initial GUI programs that you make are going to be pretty simple, and you can probably just wing it as you go through. However, this idea of planning ahead is really critical as your programs become more complicated. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to have a small little PowerPoint slide where I'm going to talk about the code. It will be pre-displayed, and then I'm going to have a video where I actually do it. So this is your first chunk of code that you're going to write. And what I'm going to do is, you'll see in a second, little descriptors will come up along the side. So if you make a new program, and you can call it whatever you want, and you start to type this in, you'll be good to go. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to import the tkinter module. There are lots of modules with Python 3, and therefore they're not all preloaded, because that would just be really cumbersome. It's like someone calling you, asking you to bring over a couple tools to help them fix something at their house, and you pack up 10,000 toolboxes and you're going to use 2 of them. It's a waste of time. So we need to import the tkinter in order to use it. So this is that critical line. So this generates the main window. So this line here where I say root equals tk brackets, so I'm invoking the tk method, is going to generate that window, and it does it all for us. So now we have this variable called root, and that controls our main window where our application is built inside of. Well, this line here, we have a function called title, so we go root.title and then we pass it a string. We can set the title bar of our application. And then this line here, root.mainLoop, is the last line you want to see in your code. Because remember how I talked about we're developing event-driven programs? What you need to do is you need to essentially put your program into an infinite loop, and it sits there and waits for an event to happen. So the last line of code in your program is this root.mainLoop. And what that does is it sets up your program into this loop, waiting for an event to happen. So this root.bind, this is what kind of sets up the event for us. What bind does is it attaches an event to a method. So what this is saying is that on the root window, I want you to take the return key, and you can find in the documentation all the different keys, so you can assign it to a number of keys. I've chosen the return key to the onReturn method. So what this says is that anytime someone presses the return key, you're going to call the onReturn method. And that onReturn method, or function, I've done a lot of programming in Java, so I tend to say method, but in Python I should say function, is written up here. It's really important that all your function definitions are above your main code that builds your GUI. So right now all I've done is I've written my definition, and I've just printed out the word check because I just want to see that it works. And there's my function definition. So you're going to notice this star args as a parameter. What this means is this method can take any number of arguments. This is actually quite necessary. You don't need it right now, but in later steps this becomes important. We're not going to talk about the theory of why this is used. A little later I'll talk about the specific purpose of this star args and why it's essential. So if you type this out properly and you have pretty much what's on the screen there, that is what you should see. This window should be adjustable. You should be able to slide it larger and smaller, and if you do so, you'll see the title up there. And in our next video, I'm actually going to code this for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.